before August 8, 2026. These are the 6 foods you should prioritize before prices rise and the cheapest options start disappearing. And when I say everything else is useless, I don't mean you should throw away the food you already have. I mean a kitchen can be full and still fail to protect a family. You can have plenty of snacks, but not enough protein, a freezer full of meat that becomes useless during a power outage, or thousands of calories that cannot be turned into real meals. A crisis does not take all the food at once. It takes your money first, then your choices, and then makes it more expensive to replace what is missing. This list has only 6 items, but the number 1 spot may not be what you are thinking. 6. Iodized salt. The smallest item that keeps the entire system balanced. Walk down the seasoning aisle at the supermarket. The bottles of olive oil, sauces, and expensive spices get almost all the attention. But on the bottom corner of the shelf, a box of iodized salt that costs only a few dollars still sits quietly. Most people only remember it when the salt container in their kitchen is nearly empty. It is small, cheap, and too familiar to feel urgent. A large bag of rice makes you feel like you have just prepared dozens of meals. A stack of canned fish makes it feel like your protein supply is secure. But putting 2 extra boxes of salt in your cart barely makes you feel like you have done anything important. That is exactly why salt is often forgotten. If you run out of meat, you will notice immediately. If you run out of salt, the problem appears more quietly, but nearly every meal you have left is affected. Salt does not provide calories, but sodium plays a role in fluid balance, nerve signaling, and muscle function. The body only needs an appropriate amount, and many Americans already consume more sodium than recommended. So this is not advice to eat more salt. It is a reminder not to wait until you need to cook basic foods to discover that the box of salt in your home is nearly empty. This matters even more in early August, when hot weather, power outages, or storms can disrupt normal eating routines. Anyone who has been told to limit sodium because of blood pressure, heart, kidney, or other individual health conditions still needs to follow medical guidance first. Salt is also not a cure for dehydration. You should not mix a large amount of salt into water and treat it as an electrolyte solution. But in a food supply, keeping a reasonable amount of salt on hand is still a basic part of a cooking plan. The special value of this item lies in the second word, iodized. Iodine is a mineral the body needs for the thyroid gland to produce hormones and support metabolism. However, not every type of salt provides iodine. According to the Office of Dietary Supplements at the U.S. National Institutes of Health, only products labeled iodized are considered iodized salt. Sea salt, kosher salt, Himalayan salt, and many specialty salts often contain very little or no iodine unless the manufacturer clearly states that the product has been fortified. That means a family can own several types of salt and still not have the iodine source they think they have. Most of the sodium in the American diet comes from processed foods, but manufacturers often use non-iodized salt. So eating a lot of canned soup, snacks, or processed foods does not mean the diet is getting a lot of iodine. Adding iodine to salt became widely adopted in the United States early in the last century to address iodine deficiency in many regions. The important lesson is simple. One small change to an inexpensive product can fill a nutritional gap the naked eye cannot see. A food pantry can provide enough calories and still lack the small components that help keep the entire diet more balanced. Iodized salt also serves a more practical purpose. It helps make the rest of your stored food something you can eat consistently. White rice can provide many servings, but completely bland rice gets boring very quickly. Dry beans provide protein and fiber at a low cost, but a pot of unseasoned beans will be hard to keep eating for days. Oatmeal, vegetables, and homemade soups also need the right amount of seasoning to become easier to eat. If a family makes its own bread, salt also adds flavor and helps support the structure of the dough. When the budget forces a family to rely more heavily on rice, beans, flour, and oats, a low-cost box of salt helps keep the cheapest foods in rotation across many meals. Having enough food does not necessarily mean people will want to eat it. The first sign of an unbalanced food supply is that plenty of rice and beans have been purchased, but there is almost nothing to help turn them into meals people can keep eating. After several days, family members may start eating less, leaving food behind, or using up the convenient items first. The second sign is on the label. If all the salt in the house is sea salt, kosher salt, or a specialty variety without the word iodized, the family may be missing the exact function they thought they had covered. The third sign is a box of salt that has absorbed moisture, hardened into a block, and sat in the back of the cabinet for years. That shows the product was purchased without any plan to rotate and use it. Outside the kitchen, prices are also sending a noteworthy signal. BLS data shows that the salt and other seasonings and spices category in the United States rose about 4.7% during the 12 months ending in June 2026, and about 2% in June alone. This is a broad category, so we cannot say that iodized salt itself rose by that exact amount. However, it does show that price pressure is present in the seasoning aisle. At the producer level, the price index for the category that includes evaporated table salt, pepper, and other spices also rose by more than 4% from February to June 2026. This is not an index specifically for iodized salt, but it shows that the costs behind this product category are moving higher. That does not mean salt is about to become scarce or that prices will suddenly spike. The United States still has a large salt supply, and this product remains relatively inexpensive. The more realistic warning is that the price per box may gradually increase. Discounts may appear less often, or package sizes may change before shoppers notice a clear price jump. Watch for 3 signs: store brands disappearing, the price per ounce rising, and iodized salt being replaced by more expensive specialty options that do not contain iodine. There is no need to buy an entire cartful. Just check how much your family currently uses, compare unit prices, and add a reasonable amount while the price is still right. Salt can last a long time when stored in a dry place. It does not need electricity or refrigeration. But do not leave the entire supply in paper bags beside the sink, dishwasher, or hot stove. Transfer the stored portion into an airtight container, keep a small amount near the cooking area, and store the rest in a cool, dark, dry place. The iodine content in salt can decline over time, especially when the product is kept in hot and humid conditions. So buy a reasonable amount, date it, and rotate through it instead of buying a huge supply and forgetting about it for years. Buying the right kind of salt is only half the job. Keeping it dry, clean, and easy to reach is the other half. You do not buy salt because it is exciting. You buy it because the smallest item on the shelf can help the body stay balanced, turn the cheapest foods into hundreds of meals people can keep eating, and help the entire food supply work as intended. Salt keeps the system from falling out of balance. But balance is still not enough. If a kitchen is full of carbohydrates and has almost no fat, the body may be getting calories but still lack the concentrated source of energy it needs. That is why the next item is not a snack. 5. Peanut butter, a source of fat and energy that requires no electricity. An 18-ounce jar of peanut butter costs relatively little but contains nearly 3,000 calories. A 2-tablespoon serving usually provides about 190 calories, and nearly 7 grams of protein. Put that next to a fast food meal for two that can cost $20 to $30. And this familiar food starts to mean something different. This is not just something to spread on bread. It is a concentrated source of energy on the shelf that can be eaten immediately without electricity, gas, water, or cooking equipment. Look at the items people buy first: rice, pasta, flour, cereal, and dry beans. They make the pantry look full, but can still leave one major gap: a lack of ready-to-eat fat. A pantry full of carbohydrates is like a large house without a roof. Carbohydrates and protein provide about 4 calories per gram, while fat provides about 9 calories. That means a small amount of food containing fat can provide more energy. Fat also helps the body absorb vitamins A, D, E, and K, while helping meals keep you full longer. That does not mean a family needs to eat a lot of fat. It simply shows that a pantry full of calories is not necessarily balanced. Peanut butter helps fill that gap with fat, plant-based protein, and concentrated calories. No need to turn on the stove. No need to boil water. No need for backup fuel. Just open the lid. That is a major advantage on a busy morning, a long trip, or an evening when everyone is too tired to cook. It becomes even more useful during a power outage, when backup gas needs to be saved for foods that take longer to cook. Peanut butter also requires no water to prepare. Rice, pasta, oats, and dry beans all require water. When every bottle of water is being carefully rationed, something that can be eaten directly provides flexibility that many other ingredients do not. For people over 50, this simplicity also reduces the time spent standing in the kitchen, lifting pots of water, and using multiple appliances. A slice of bread, peanut butter, and a banana can become a meal in minutes. It does not replace a balanced diet, but on a day when the kitchen is not functioning normally, it is still better than skipping a meal or paying $20 to $30 for food delivery. The main reason peanut butter is on this list is that it provides ready-to-eat energy, while rice, beans, and flour are still waiting for water and fuel. Peanut butter is also versatile. It can be spread on bread, mixed into oatmeal, or eaten with bananas, apples, or crackers. A small amount can be turned into a sauce for rice, noodles, or vegetables. Its everyday usefulness makes peanut butter easy to rotate. Stored food only has value when the family is actually willing to eat it. Buy the kind everyone in the household likes. Do not choose an expensive product just because the packaging looks healthier. Check the ingredients, price per ounce, and storage instructions. A simple jar that gets used regularly is more valuable than a premium product forgotten in the back of the pantry. Always close the lid tightly, keep the jar in a cool, dry place, and use the oldest jar first. If the peanut butter smells rancid, tastes bitter, has mold, or shows any unusual signs, do not try to use it. The most important exception is allergies. Anyone with a peanut allergy must avoid it completely, because even a small amount or cross-contact can cause a serious reaction. Sunflower seed butter can be an alternative, but the label still needs to be checked. Peanut butter is high in calories, so portions need to be controlled. 2 tablespoons may not look like much, but the calories add up quickly. Stocking up does not mean eating without limits. Before August 8th, check one simple thing. Besides rice, pasta, flour, and beans, does your kitchen have a source of fat that can be eaten immediately when the power goes out? There is no need to buy an entire case. Keep an amount that matches your actual use. Rotate through each jar and restock while the price per ounce is still reasonable. Peanut butter is the bridge between calories, fullness, and the ability to eat immediately. A small jar does not make the kitchen look more impressive, but it can help a family put together a meal when there is no electricity, no cooking water, or no energy left to stand at the stove. Peanut butter helps fill the fat gap, but after several days of eating rice, beans, and oatmeal, a family needs more than energy. They also need to turn simple ingredients into meals that look and feel familiar. 4. Flour or wheat berries. The food that brings structure and variety to meals. The beans are still there. The oats are still there. The rice is still there. But by the second week, what the family misses most may not be meat or fast food, but a slice of bread, a warm tortilla, or a familiar baked item on the table. Flour does more than add calories. It turns separate ingredients into a structured meal. In many cultures, bread represents the comfort of a familiar meal. With just flour, water, salt, and heat, you can make something to share. When routines disappear, stress can rise. A baked item does not solve every problem, but it creates the feeling that a meal is still being prepared, not simply handed out. Beans become tortilla filling. Broth is served with flatbread. Oats combine with flour to make pancakes. Vegetables or leftovers can be wrapped in bread, turning a small amount into a filling meal. Flour does not create more food. It changes the form of what the family already has and how those ingredients can be combined. But flour and whole wheat berries are not the same. And this time, the reason to check your flour before August 8th is not just inside the kitchen. It starts out in the fields. In its July 2026 Wheat Outlook report, the U.S. Department of Agriculture forecast that total domestic wheat production would fall 23% from the previous year. Ending stocks were also projected to fall 21%, reaching their lowest level in 3 years. The most notable signal is in hard red winter wheat, a variety especially important for many types of bread flour. Production in this category was projected to fall 41%, making it the smallest crop since the 1957-58 marketing year. Prices on supermarket shelves may still look normal, but the wheat supply behind the bag has shrunk. The USDA projected the average farm price for wheat in the 2026-27 marketing year at $6 per bushel, up from $5.06 the previous year, an increase of nearly 19%. Retail prices will not necessarily rise at the same rate, but pressure on raw material costs has already appeared before shoppers see the impact at the checkout. There is no widespread shortage yet, but pressure from supply and raw material prices has already emerged. Flour is still the more practical choice for most families. It has already been milled and is ready to use, but it is vulnerable to heat, moisture, insects, and rancidity. How long it maintains its quality depends on the type of flour, the packaging, and the temperature. Whole wheat berries can last longer when handled properly, but they need to be ground before they can be prepared. If you do not already own a grinder, have not tested the grain you purchased, or do not know how to use the resulting flour, dozens of kilograms of wheat are simply ingredients you cannot access yet. Practical preparedness does not mean buying grain because of its theoretical shelf life. It means buying it only when you already have a way to turn it into food. For many families, keeping a reasonable amount of flour in rotation still makes more sense. Flatbread, tortillas, and pancakes can all be made with simple equipment. Flour can also thicken soups or sauces. The important skill is not making perfect bread, but knowing 2 ways to turn flour into food with what your family already has. Try those recipes before you need them. After several days of repeating rice, beans, and oatmeal, pancakes in the morning or warm tortillas can change how a family sees the same old ingredients. Children and older adults recognize something familiar. A baked item does not replace nutrition or solve stress. But keeping one familiar food is not a luxury. It is a way to preserve the rhythm of daily life when choices become limited. Keep flour dry, sealed, and cool. Do not leave it for long in a paper bag in a hot, humid place. If you buy more, divide it into smaller portions and open only the amount you are currently using. Rotate your flour instead of buying several types and forgetting about them. Check for odors, insects, and mold. If the product smells rancid, feels unusually damp, or shows signs of spoilage, do not try to use it. Before August 8th, the goal is not to clear the shelves. Check how much your family uses in 4 to 8 weeks. Compare the unit price per pound and buy the type of flour you already know how to use. A few reasonably sized bags are easier to rotate than one oversized sack. Flour creates variety, but it still takes time and heat to prepare. During a power outage, the first resource to run out is sometimes not food. It is gas, firewood, or backup electricity. And this is where the number 3 spot proves its value. 3. Old-fashioned rolled oats. A quick meal that helps save fuel. A family can prepare enough food for several weeks and still run into trouble on the very first morning without power. The beans are still untouched on the shelf. The rice bin is still full. The freezer still contains meat. On paper, this family seems very well prepared, but the kitchen is dark. The electric stove does not work. The refrigerator is no longer making its familiar sound, and everyone starts calculating how long the backup propane tank will last. Beans take a long time to soften. Rice still requires water and heat. The meat in the freezer begins a countdown that no one wants to extend. Then a very ordinary question comes up. What are we eating this morning? This is where old-fashioned rolled oats prove their unique value. They turn a small amount of water, a few minutes of heat, and very little effort into a real breakfast. Many plans count servings, but forget to count cooking time. But during a power outage, fuel can run out before food does. Every time the stove is turned on, it uses some of the gas, firewood, or backup electricity. Old-fashioned rolled oats only need a few minutes of cooking. If the stove cannot be used, they can also be soaked long enough to gradually soften, as long as the water and container are both clean and safe. Over many meals, saving a few minutes each time can preserve fuel for other foods that take much longer to cook. But the reason to check your oats before August 8 is not only in the kitchen. The supply picture is changing, but it is not as serious as initially projected. In May, the U.S. Department of Agriculture projected 2026 and 27 oat production at about 55 million bushels. By July, with new data, the USDA raised that forecast to 63.2 million bushels. Harvested acreage was raised to 877,000 acres. Yield reached 72.1 bushels per acre. Total supply reached 167 million bushels, and ending stocks were estimated at about 32 million. This is a positive revision. Production is still lower than the previous crop, but the decline is no longer as severe as the May forecast. There is no basis for saying that oats are about to become scarce, or that retail prices are certain to rise sharply. The U.S. market also depends on cross-border trade. The USDA says most food-grade oats come from Canada, which has accounted for an average of about 97% of U.S. oat imports over the past decade. That means shelf prices are also affected by Canada's harvest, transportation, exchange rates, packaging, and retail contracts. The first sign may not be empty shelves, but fewer discounts on large boxes, store brands becoming harder to find, or the price per ounce rising even when the box price changes very little. Oats provide carbohydrates, fiber, and plant-based protein. For older adults, the soft texture and small serving size are helpful on mornings when they do not feel like eating much. A bowl of oatmeal does not have to taste the same every day. Peanut butter adds energy. Powdered milk adds protein. Fruit, bananas, or cinnamon make it sweet. Salt, seasonings, vegetables, or leftovers turn it into a savory meal. Oats can also be ground to make pancakes, added to soup, or combined with flour. But there is no need to turn this section into a list of recipes. Their greatest value is still the ability to create a quick breakfast with what the family already has. Old-fashioned rolled oats offer a good balance of speed, texture, and versatility. Instant oats are faster, but may contain added sugar or cost more per ounce. Steel-cut oats usually take longer to cook. There is no single right choice for every family. Buy the kind people will actually eat and know how to prepare with the equipment already available. Before August 8th, the goal is not to clear the shelves. Check how much your family uses in 4 to 8 weeks. Compare the price per ounce, and buy more while the price is still reasonable. A few moderately sized containers are easier to rotate than one large bag. Keep oats dry, sealed, and cool. If you buy more, divide them into smaller portions. Rotate through the oldest product first, and check for odors, moisture, insects, and mold before using it. There is no sound from the coffee maker, no light in the kitchen, but a warm bowl of oatmeal can still be placed on the table. It does not make the outage disappear. It just keeps the morning from being completely disrupted. Oats turn a little water, a little heat, and a little time into a meal. But they still provide most of their energy from grains. When the body needs a stronger source of protein to get through several days, the number 2 spot starts to become important. 2. Dry beans combined with canned beans, a source of protein that does not depend on refrigeration. After one day without power, a freezer full of meat starts becoming a countdown. The cans and bags of beans on the shelf do not. A pantry full of pasta, crackers, and snacks can keep hunger away for a little while. But if the food supply consists mostly of starch and sugar, the family will still be short on protein once fresh food is no longer usable. A short-term crisis raises the question of calories. A longer disruption adds the question of protein. Protein maintains muscle, helps repair tissue, and supports the immune system. This is especially important for people over 50, when muscle mass tends to gradually decline. A stable source of protein at home helps protect strength and the ability to care for yourself. Beans are an affordable, reliable, and highly versatile way to fill that gap. Instead of buying a large amount in one form, combine canned beans for the first few days with dry beans for the longer term. During the first days without power, canned beans have a clear advantage. They are already cooked, contain their own liquid, and can be eaten immediately without fuel. However, canned beans are heavy, take up space, and cost more per serving. That makes them suitable as a ready-to-eat layer, but they should not completely replace dry beans. Dry beans handle the rest. They cost less per serving, way less, and are suitable for storing in larger quantities. But dry beans require water, time, and heat. Many people buy large amounts of beans without calculating the water and fuel needed to cook them. Pre-soaking and using a suitable pressure cooker can shorten cooking time. But those methods should be tested before a disruption happens. One solves the problem of speed. The other solves the problems of cost and long-term storage. The value of beans is not limited to protein. Beans combine protein, fiber, and complex carbohydrates, helping meals keep you full longer than relying only on pasta, crackers, or white rice. 1 cup of cooked beans usually provides about 12 to 15 grams of protein, along with fiber, folate, potassium, and magnesium. Beans can be used in soups, chili, stews, burritos, salads, mashed beans, or served with rice and vegetables. Choosing a few varieties the family already knows how to use can create many meals without making the food supply complicated. The most important combination is still beans and rice. Beans provide lysine, an amino acid that rice contains in lower amounts. Rice provides the energy base, while beans add protein and fiber. The two complement each other in amino acids, creating an affordable, filling meal that is easy to scale up. Those advantages explain why beans deserve a place in the kitchen, but the timing of when to restock them also deserves attention. The data does not show that all types of beans are rising in price together. However, the USDA's June 30th report shows that both planted and expected harvested acreage for U.S. dry edible beans in 2026 were down about 15% from 2025. The USDA AMS report from July 31st shows that black bean and pinto bean prices in some regions were higher than the same period last year, while Great Northern and navy beans were lower. This is a divided market, not a broad price increase. If reduced acreage affects retail supply, some varieties may offer fewer choices, large bags may become harder to find, or the unit price may change before the package price does. This is only something to watch, not a trend in every store. Before August 8th, check how many beans your family uses in 4 to 8 weeks. Compare unit prices for the same product type, and add both dry and canned beans when prices are reasonable. There is no need to panic buy. Choose the kinds your family will actually eat and rotate them into everyday meals. If you currently eat very few beans, add them to the menu gradually instead of suddenly switching to a high-fiber diet. If you keep canned beans, make sure you have a manual can opener. Do not use cans that are swollen, leaking, deeply rusted, or damaged around the seams. For dry beans, keep them sealed, dry, away from heat and insects. Date them and cook them. Beans stored for too long may require more time and fuel to soften. Beans are a quiet form of insurance. Canned beans help a family get through days with limited fuel, while dry beans provide an affordable protein source for a longer period. But beans are still not the most scalable energy foundation. To turn 1 cup of beans, a few vegetables, or a small portion of meat into a meal for the entire family, you still need the item in the number 1 spot. 1. White rice. The foundation of the entire food system. If you could keep only 1 bag of food in your home tomorrow, what would you choose? Not the food with the most protein, not the food with the most vitamins, and not an emergency product sealed in expensive packaging. In many kitchens around the world, the answer is still rice. Not because rice is perfect, but because it is stable, easy to buy, easy to portion, and can be combined with almost everything else in the kitchen. That is why white rice takes the number 1 spot. White rice is better suited for long-term storage than brown rice because the oil-containing bran and germ have been removed. Brown rice is more nutritious in some ways, but it is also more likely to go rancid. White rice has a neutral flavor, requires no refrigeration, and can be combined with beans, vegetables, eggs, canned fish, or meat. The first value of rice is energy. A large bag contains a significant number of calories at a relatively low cost. But instead of looking only at the weight, calculate how many servings 1 cup of dry rice makes, how much each person usually eats, and how many weeks your current supply will last. The number of kilograms creates a sense of security. The actual number of meals shows how prepared the family really is. Rice is also a portion multiplier. A small amount of meat can be divided among more people when served with rice. A can of beans, a few vegetables, eggs, or canned fish can also become a filling meal without increasing the amount of expensive ingredients. This is especially valuable when the budget is tight. Rice does not make other foods cheaper, but it helps a family use them intentionally. Expensive ingredients become additions to a predictable energy base. That predictability creates control. You know how many cups remain, how much each meal requires, and when you need to restock. You can adjust portions before the rice is nearly gone. When many products are being sold in smaller packages, predictability can sometimes be more valuable than variety. Rice helps the previous 5 items work together. Salt makes basic meals easier to eat. Peanut butter increases the energy density of suitable recipes. Flour makes bread or tortillas. Oats provide a quick breakfast that uses little fuel. Beans add protein, fiber, and lysine, creating an affordable, filling, and more balanced meal with rice. Rice does not replace any of those foods. It simply creates the foundation that allows each one to serve its proper role. A warm bowl of rice with beans, vegetables, or a little leftover food still feels like a real dinner, not an emergency ration you have to eat because there are no other choices. Familiar food helps maintain the rhythm of daily life and reduces the feeling that everything in the home has fallen out of control. Before August 8th, check how much rice you have and restock based on your actual use. However, rice is only reliable when stored properly. Leaving a large bag in a hot, humid garage is not a long-term plan. Heat, moisture, and insects can reduce its quality before it is used. Divide the rice into smaller portions. Place it in airtight packaging, date it, and keep it in a cool, dark, dry place. Open only one portion at a time as needed, and use the oldest portion first, so the entire supply is not exposed to air and moisture at once. Do not forget water and fuel. A large supply of rice loses its value if the family does not have clean water or a way to cook during a power outage. Know how much water each pot requires, what fuel the backup stove uses, and how to cook only what is needed to avoid waste. Rice also has limits. It does not provide enough protein, fat, vitamins, and minerals to form a complete diet. People who need to manage blood sugar must adjust portions according to appropriate guidance. Stocking only rice while ignoring beans, fats, and seasonings creates a large supply of calories that lacks balance. That is exactly why rice ranks first. Not because it does everything, but because it helps the remaining foods work together. Rice does not try to be a superfood. It performs a more important job, turning separate ingredients into a meal that can be shared, calculated, and sustained. Salt maintains balance. Peanut butter provides fat. Flour creates structure. Oats save fuel. Beans protect the protein supply. But rice is the energy foundation that connects all those parts into a system a family can use over the long term. These 6 foods serve 6 functions. Salt maintains balance. Peanut butter adds fat. Flour creates structure. Oats save fuel. Beans protect protein. And rice provides the energy foundation. Everything else is useless does not mean other foods are not worth buying. It is a reminder that variety should come only after the foundation is covered. Do not panic buy before August 8th. Check your kitchen, find the biggest gap, buy what your family uses, and rotate it. Account for water, fuel, a can opener, cooking equipment, and individual needs. Which of these 6 items is your kitchen missing the most? If you could choose only 3, which ones would you choose?